Abraham Lincoln is credited with starting the Union Pacific Railroad Company July 1st, 1862 in Washington, D.C. He did this in order to build a singular railroad all across the United States of America. This would be called the Transcontinental Railroad. In 1862, the Pacific Railroad Act chartered the Central Pacific and the Union Pacific Railroad Companies and tasked them with building a transcontinental railroad that would link the United States from east to west. Over the next 7 years, the two companies would race toward each other from Sacramento, California on one side and Omaha, Nebraska on the other, struggling against great risk before they met at Promontory, Utah on May 10, 1869. With the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, it was now possible to travel from the East Coast to the West Coast in only a few days, instead of the weeks that it had previously taken. This allowed military transport to be more efficient, as well as the ability to have luxury items such as goods or mail arrive much faster. The impact to the U.S. economy from the transporting of these products and people led to economic growth. The United States would soon manufacture 30% of the world's goods by 1900. Travel was obviously one of the aspects of U.S. life most impacted by the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad. With towns and farmland popping up along the railroad, more people began to move west. Before the railroad, it took almost 6 months and cost $1,000 to travel between California and New York. After the Transcontinental Railroad was completed, it cost $150 and took 1 week. For the first time, U.S. Americans could freely travel from coast to coast. This radically changed both business and pleasure travel. Easier transcontinental business travel allowed direct growth through expanding markets and cheaper distribution, as well as increased possibilities for partnerships and exchange of ideas. This movement between coasts allowed for business professionals to have a more expansive idea of their industry and allowed improved access to information and skills. Within 10 years of the Transcontinental Railroad's completion, it was already shipping $50 million worth of freight from coast to coast every year. A marked production boom occurred as resources had faster transport to industry setting, thus speeding up the process of making goods. Currently, the U.S. freight rail network has over 140,000 rail miles in operation. This system employs at least 221,000 people working through the country and is a large part of our transportation industry. For the most part, freight moves through the U.S. by rail and truck, with rail making up 39.5% of shipments. A turning point in America was the North's victory in the Civil War. The North's more extensive railway system was a factor in their ability to win the Civil War. The transportation network of the North allowed them to move men and equipment longer distances with greater speed, thus providing them with a significant advantage. The railroad system allowed for new settlements to thrive along the rail networks. For example, Davis, California, where the University of California, Davis is located, starting around a Southern Pacific Railroad depot in 1868. The railroads also changed America's history with timekeeping. Solar time caused problems for people who scheduled trains crossing long distances. It also confused railroad travelers who had to ask, is the train arriving at our time or theirs? To solve this problem, railroad companies created standard time. This system divided the U.S. into 4 time zones. Railroads helped shape the social identity of America, and the Union Pacific Railroad Company was responsible for putting them there.